What's up guys, this is Balázs from RacingBrick. I have some amazing news, we have finally a new powered up product here. Okay, yeah, well, not that new exactly, but that's what we get nowadays. So, this is the 60336 freight train. LEGO has been pretty consistent with these releases. Every 3-4 years we get a city passenger train and a freight train. I reviewed the previous passenger train 4 years ago, the link is in the top right corner as usual. Now I decided to take a closer look to the 2022 freight train. As you see on the front of the box, we get quite a lot of things. I won't go over everything now because we will build them soon anyway. Two things to notice here, the train has the powered up logo and we get the usual train remote in the box, which is nice, and there are 16 curved tracks, 16 straight ones and one switch. That's the same amount we got in the previous freight train, but more than the amount that comes with the 2022 passenger train. On the back of the box we see a lot of details, some hints about the app control. Let's open the box. The set has 1153 pieces, the age rating is 7+, the price is €180 or $200 and it should be available already in the shops. There are 10 numbered bags inside, 2 unnumbered ones, the separate track pieces, a big train base and the instructions with the sticker sheet. Let's pause the video here for a moment. There's something wrong here that I just noticed much later and I was quite surprised as after opening hundreds of LEGO sets, it was a first for me. Can you see the problem? Let me know in the comments. There are 5 separate manuals so the whole family can build the different elements at the same time. The sticker sheet is surprisingly small, there's not much decoration. This is a 7+ set, so we cannot really talk about complicated building techniques. I will show the finished builds in the order of the instructions and share any highlights of them. First, we build an electric car with the solar charging station. We've seen these solar panels on the Lunar Space Station already, they can be folded for transportation. The charger itself is simple but nice, it has a little printed tile with the charging icon, a keypad, and I like the part usage for the charger itself. The location of the port is a bit unusual on the car, it's like sticking the charger in the exhaust. But if we take a closer look, it actually works for the minifig. The driver can stick the charger to the port herself this way. Otherwise the car is a usual simple 4-stud white city vehicle, no opening doors or anything extra. Okay, it has an adjustable spoiler here at the rear, it's a racing EV apparently. Now let's see the locomotive. I would say it looks nice for the first sight, good color scheme, nice overall shape. I like how we have brick-built accents with pieces complementing each other, like the arches at the front or the blue and white slopes on the sides. The color difference of the big white sticker on the side is very visible unfortunately. LEGO still has the color matching issues with the stickers. Could have been better to use a transparent one. The placement of the hub is different from the previous generation. Those were integrated with the body panels and the whole section had to be removed. Here you can remove the hub only with some attached parts on the top, which seems to be fairly easy and straightforward, but if you pushed it properly in place then it will be a challenge to remove. I was a bit confused as we have hinge pieces on both ends, but the cabin roof itself is not hinged. You need to remove the whole assembly to get access to the driver's seat. That's a step back compared to the previous ones. Both the passenger and the freight train had hinged cabin roofs. One remark about the bogies. We have the usual train motor on one end, but the other one has the new train wheels that don't have the previous metal axles, they are all plastic. I'm not a huge train expert, but as I heard the new ones have a slightly bigger rolling resistance, and there are some concerns regarding their durability. Well, I'm sure they are cheaper to produce though. Now to the next build. We have this simple open wagon with hinged walls all around. It can be opened completely, although I'm not sure that's how real ones work. This one should be able to store the charging station, we'll show you that in a minute. The other one is a flat car with 2 containers. There are 2 simple but effective latches on both sides to secure them in place. We have 2 pallets in them, one has some flowers, the other have vegetables and some jars. There are 2 figs in this phase, one of them has his hat in the new neon yellow color, it only appeared here and in the new train station set so far. The next item to build is the reach stacker, and this is clearly my favorite. It is a fairly accurate representation of the real deal. We have double wheels at the front, the small cabin in the center, a telescopic boom that uses a Technic beam inside, the grabber with the Technic rubber elements, and a simple but effective mechanism to raise and lower the boom. It really looks great and I could only complain about the lack of steering. Normally the rear wheels should be steered. With that function added, it would be perfect. And here's the last build, the double-decker car carrier. It has a pretty cool mechanism. It uses 4 of these Technic links, first time in dark blue. The mechanism can tip the upper deck in both directions, and otherwise it can be stabilized with these hinged pieces at the bottom. We have a second car to load, this time with one central charging port at the rear. We built this ramp as well to facilitate the loading and unloading. Let's put the track together and see how everything works. So, do you remember when I mentioned the problem after the unboxing? Well, I just realized it. I got an incorrect number of tracks. According to the box, I'm supposed to have 16 straight and 16 curved ones, but I got 5 pack of straights, which is 20, and 3 pack of curves, which is only 12. I never ever had a single missing piece in my sets, and while technically this is not a missing piece situation, since I have 1 pack of straights instead of the curves, but it's still very surprising for me. I could reach out to LEGO customer service of course, and they would be happy to send me the correct ones, but luckily I have them in my inventory, so there's no need for that. So the track is finished, now let's take a closer look at the remote and the locomotive. The system did not change in the past for years, so if you are not familiar with the basics, then I suggest to watch my passenger train review linked in the top right corner. We have the motor connected to port A. You can simply rotate the controls if the train goes in the opposite way. We have gradual speed control with the buttons, there are 10 speed levels, and I have to say it goes pretty fast. You can stop it simply with the red button. Now let's see the app control. You need the powered up app, launch the profile for the freight train, then turn on the hub, it should connect automatically. You can control the train in multiple ways, there's the wheel in the center that you can use, the speed indicator is above it. There are also buttons on the right side, similar to the physical remote with a stop button in the middle. The train has some sound effects by default, and you can use the buttons on the left for additional effects. There's a button to switch between day, night and rain, but that only affects the background. The one above it seems to cut power, the effect is very similar to the stop button on the right. The last button is for the lights, which is pretty interesting as the train does not have any lights built in. The passenger train has them, but not this one. I will get back to this in a minute, but let's see all the cars first in action. So, this is how the train runs with full capacity. Whoops, we have an accident there. Okay, so we also learned the difference between the two buttons. This one cuts power, but the train rolls freely. The other one is more like a brake. The set is quite playable, the reach stacker can grab the containers by itself, you need some manual help to release them though. Same goes for the charging station, that one can be also managed by the reach stacker. The ramp also works well for the cars, the carrier can be fixed in place with this latch, then you need to tilt the upper deck to be able to unload the car below, then we need to tilt the whole thing for the car on the top, release the car itself, and there you go, everything works smoothly. So let's get back to that light button. As you see, the same button can be found in the passenger train's profile, but that locomotive has a light built in, unlike this one. I asked the developers about this and they said they wanted to give customers the opportunity to add the light and to be able to control it in the profile, which is a first I think, and I really like this approach, but the only problem is that there's exactly zero guidance or documentation about it. If someone is not familiar with the system, then they won't know what this button should do, possibly not sure what they need to buy additionally and how to install it. So what you need is the 88005 light powered up component. You need to take the train a bit apart, just remove these components. Then you need to connect the light to port B, make sure to pass the cable under this section. The two LEDs have enough space to connect here at the front. The cables are pretty long, so you need to fold them somehow to fit. I'm sure you can do it in a nicer way than me. Then we need to put all removed parts back in place, and here is the complete locomotive again. Now let's fire up the app and tada! We have working lights. We even have two different light levels and a nice fade out effect when it is switched off. And don't worry, it will also work with the remote. Unfortunately, we only have one free port on the hub, and since the powered up lights are not stackable, you can only add light to one end of the locomotive. So, let's sum it up. If you are into LEGO trains, then I think you will like this set. There's nothing revolutionary in it, but it offers two ways for remote control, so you can either use the physical remote or the app. I like all the different components, they offer a fair amount of playability, and everything works as designed. About the price, the RRP is 180 euros or $200, but I've already seen it for 135 euros, which seems to be a really good price for such set. Interestingly, the previous cargo train from 2018 had a higher price. That one started with an RRP of 190 euros and $230, although it had about 10% more parts. Anyway, I think this set provides a good value and playability for the price that apparently will quickly drop to an acceptable level. I only wish the light was also included in this one. Seems to be an odd choice to leave it out from the pricier set, but offering it in the cheaper passenger train. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. I also suggest to subscribe with notifications as more exciting LEGO videos are coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.